So before I begin, I wanted to give a shout out to Richard and Ruthie. Hi, you guys. We actually met at the opening night of the new Broadway musical Tammy Faye. It was great, and we got to hang out at the after party. It was really fun, and I'm just so glad that I got to meet you guys. I also wanted to let you know that in the description down below, I set up a Buy Me a Coffee account, and I wanted to give a shout out to Phil for buying me 5 cups of coffee. I appreciate your generosity so much. Thank you, Phil. Yay. All right, let's go. In 1985, after 7 years in New York, I reluctantly put my acting dreams on hold to support my husband, Henry, through law school. I battled self-doubt, tough fashion clients, until I channeled Joan Rivers. Then everything changed. Stay tuned. Susan and Annie, the two women who own the color forecasting company that I'm now working for, we spent my first 3 days huddled around their conference table like generals making war plans. They talked, and I, like the general's adjunct, listened and took copious notes. The gist of color forecasting goes something like this. Fashion, like nature, has seasons: fall, winter, spring, summer, and resort. Clothing designers need color ideas for their clothing collections. Annie and Susan pick a color story for each season based on a theme: Deauville, the Italian Alps, or Rikers Island. They choose colors that best represent the theme. The colors are categorized into 4 groups: brights, neutrals, pastels, and darks. Like many things in life, predicting colors is a crapshoot. It involves a lot of intuition, inspiration, and some voodoo. Susan reassures me, you don't need to worry about the nuts and bolts. Annie and I handle everything. Susan, Annie, and I work on my spiel, and they give me a list of companies to call. My job is to cold call, set up appointments, and sell these color kits, which consist of 2 boxes filled with test tubes filled with yarn. I'm a glorified salesperson, but determined to make this work. I arrive at the studio a few minutes before 10 every morning and start cold calling. The process is excruciating. I hate making cold calls, but I show up every morning no matter what, put my butt in the chair, and force myself to make calls for 3 hours. I learned never call before 10 because people need to be settled and have their coffee first. I also learned to avoid calling or making appointments when the weather is bad because people are less likely to buy. I approached this endeavor like an acting job. I've been cast in the role of a color forecaster. I listen and absorb Susan and Annie's words like I'm receiving plans for a covert top secret operation. I do the same with every fashion designer and buyer I meet, like a spy infiltrating the enemy. I observe how these people dress, do their hair, makeup. I soak up everything they say about trends, current styles. I take notes. And if I don't have the answer to a question, I write it down, go back to the office, ask Susan and Annie, call the designer back, and impart their wisdom. Over time, my appearance evolves. My wardrobe morphs into simple, chic clothes in only black, white, or gray. This way, I don't detract from the colors I'm presenting. I cut my long, layered actress hair into a neat shoulder-length bob. I learn my lines and rehearse my presentations, like I'm auditioning for a Broadway show. Susan and Annie hire a couple of other salespeople, including Susan's brother, but for some unknown reason, I'm the only one who can sell these test tubes of color. Every person they hire, except me, quits. Believe me, I have plenty of motivation. Henry isn't working. He's in law school. And I'm scared shitless we'll end up homeless on the sidewalks of New York City, like the disheveled, bone-thin guy with the long, stringy hair who works the corner across from my apartment. Every day, without fail, this guy stands as a warning to me, holding his dented tin cup and repeating like a trained parrot, "You got a quarter for a cup of coffee?" You got a quarter for a cup of coffee? One day, as I passed him, I said, Dude, you need to raise your prices. Coffee hasn't been a quarter in a decade. After that, every time I passed him, he'd be like, You got a quarter for. Ooh, ooh. I'm nervous about meeting fashion designers and buyers and giving presentations because I'm a fraud. I'm faking everything. To shore up my confidence, I visualize myself walking into a fashion office, working with the designer, and everyone is so excited they can't wait to buy these little test tubes. Henry, the consummate salesman, advised me, use compliments to start the conversation. This'll put the designer at ease. So I use compliments. Not fake compliments, real compliments. I find something I genuinely like about the person. I love your haircut. Cute sweater. When the designer's a guy, I mention their surroundings. Oh, amazing office. Spectacular view. This technique works? Well, for the most part. I do run across clients who give me a hard time. One of these, we'll call her Lucille, always gives me grief about color direction. Lucille's bigger than life. She has too much teased blonde hair, elaborate makeup. Her nails are too long, too red. She's got a rock on her finger that rivals Elizabeth Taylor, and I can always count on her to put me through my paces. Oh, this is way too expensive. Who can afford this? I want a discount. But no matter how much grief and aggravation she gives me, she never buys. Ever. Yet, Lucille calls for an appointment every season. And every season, like a sadomasochist, I go. I'm in the elevator, heading up to meet with Lucille for my seasonal abuse. I'm dreading this. Being humiliated is no fun, especially when she won't even buy the color kit. I mean, why do I put myself through this? If I had any guts, I'd refuse to give her an appointment. I'd act like Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers? Yes, Joan Rivers. Act like Joan Rivers. The elevator door opens. I step into the open, airy, bright loft space with the sun shining through the vast picture windows. I sit down at the massive oak table across from Lucille, give my presentation. And the first words out of her mouth, I'm telling you, this is way too expensive. Who buys this stuff anyway? I want to say every decent designer in the country, but I hold my tongue. The light bouncing off her enormous diamond almost blinds me. Hmm, what would Joan Rivers say? Lucille, are you kidding me? That rock on your finger? I mean, please, can we talk? What about this office? The spectacular view? Who are you trying to kid? You don't fool me. Lucille gets the biggest grin on her face like I unlocked the secret combination to the vault at Fort Knox. She can't take out her gold cross pen fast enough and sign that invoice with such a flourish. She couldn't be happier spending her money. From that moment on, we're friends. She loves meeting with me. We talk about her kids. She buys the colors, no questions asked. I also find middle-aged, usually balding white guys also like to bust my chops. Take Harvey, for example. Harvey owns a small junior sweater company. After I give the presentation, he starts yelling at me. Why the hell should I believe you? Huh? Who the hell are you anyway? Why should I trust you? The first time this happened, I was shocked. I wanted to yell back at him. Oh my God, who needs this, Harvey? You're just an unhappy, crabby old man who takes his frustrations out on other people. Screw you, Harvey. Instead, I collect myself. Harvey, you're right. This is your company. Only you can decide if these colors work for your sweaters. I'm not a fortune teller, Harvey. I can't predict the future. Whatever you decide is fine with me. I smile, close my kit, and leave. 9 times out of 10, Harvey calls the office and orders the kit. And I earn my 20% commission. Yeah, I did say 20% commission. Don't get too excited. I don't make a salary, not 1 cent. So if I don't sell, I don't eat. I hope my story inspires you to approach obstacles with humor, confidence, and persistence. And if all else fails, channel Joan Rivers. Thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. I just so appreciate you being here. Thank you to all my subscribers. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, notify button below. Until next time, thanks.